Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network.
Investors urged to put their money in the local creative industries. Barbados targets the U.S. luxury wedding market. And in sports, Carlos Brathwaite's Double Ds stopped from taking the IPL lead.
The CBC Headline News, brought to you by Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC Evening News. Investors are being encouraged to put their money in the local creative sector. The advice from Culture Minister Stephen Lashley while speaking to investors during a breakfast meeting put on by the Cultural Industries Development Authority.
The Cultural Industries Symposium is hosting many representatives from financial institutions across Barbados. Minister Lashley says creativity is the fastest growing business in the world.
Companies globally, locally and internationally and regionally are hungry for people with ideas, and more of us want to make, buy, sell and share creative products. In this era of extraordinary change and globalization, the governments of CARICOM have themselves acknowledged that creativity and innovation are now driving the new emerging economy.
Mr. Lashley believes creative practitioners have the right to use their intellectual property as startup capital when seeking loans, and he adds that the necessary legislation must now be put in place to acknowledge this.
We must now move towards amending current legislation to take into account the use of intellectual property as collateral, as an emerging business option. There is, in my view, much value in creating financial opportunities for companies with valuable IP assets seeking alternative sources of capital.
Partner with the Carrington and Seeley Law Office, Francis De Pisa, says financial institutions have a role to play in creating the necessary legislation.
What you need to do is to have an appreciation, educate yourself, understand what your role is, understand what the industry's needs are, communicate those to the political directorate, to the various ministries, so that when it comes time to craft regulatory legislation, it actually makes sense.
The symposium wraps up on Sunday.
Barbados is aggressively going after the luxury wedding market in the United States. Several players operating in that niche are on the island exploring what Barbados has to offer their clients. This morning, they met at Cobbler's Cove Hotel in St. Peter. The initiative is being led by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Incorporated in conjunction with the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association. Business Development Officer at the BTMI, Simone Arthur, says the market has changed, and so the old strategy of having just travel agents promote Barbados is no longer enough.
So it's very important now that we moved from just educating the travel agent all the time into educating the event planner and also the photographer and maybe the florist, letting them know, okay, if your client comes to you or a friend comes to you or another vendor comes to you and say, oh, I have a client, you know, they're interested in a destination, when do you have any ideas? We want Barbados to be top of mind. We want Barbados to be, yes, I think you should go to have your wedding at this island. There's no waiting period to get married. There's no blood test to do it. You can have the wedding of your dreams regardless of your budget. We can make it happen for you here on island.
Two members of the visiting group, events planners Brian Worley and Suzanne Reinhardt, say the island has what it takes to make a name for itself as a luxury weddings destination. They were impressed with what's on to offer, particularly the food.
You guys have amazing beaches, there's amazing food. I mean, we've had some of honestly the best meals. The chefs that are on this island are superior. Like the meals that we've had have honestly been great. And then just it trickles down to all the vendors that we've met. Like I could throw a caliber wedding of what I would throw in Los Angeles on this island from what I've been given as far as information, locations, venues, that kind of stuff.
I think it's just a brand awareness and reminding the people in the States how incredible Barbados is, and to highlight the amazing aspects. And I really agree with Brian. Another aspect that I've really enjoyed is the culinary experience. The food's been phenomenal.
Comes from a restaurant background.
Yeah, the food's exceptional.
The woman who was shot in the head on Sunday night while traveling in the backseat of a vehicle with other family members has died. 57-year-old Valdine Hines of Carrington Village, St. Michael, succumbed to her injuries last night at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. She received the injury reportedly from a stray bullet while traveling in the vehicle along Barbaries Hill, St. Michael on the night of May 1st. Ms. Hines was taken to the hospital where she underwent surgery. She was a housekeeper at the Crystal Cove Hotel in St. James and is survived by her only child, a daughter. The General Council of the Democratic Labour Party has strongly condemned any type of violence in Barbados's school system. It took the position at its monthly meeting yesterday following recent media reports of the violence taking place in schools. In a statement, the DLP says whether that violence is student on teacher, teacher on student, or student on student, violence in any form is not to be accepted in a civil society. The DLP says in all matters of conflict, a just process underpins the rule of law and the order of the day, noting that it firmly supports the idea of due process. In the recent matter relating to the Teachers Union and the Minister of Education, the Council says it accepts the union's right to represent its constituency and finds no fault in the union's mandate to act on behalf of its members. It notes that what the Democratic Labour Party's General Council differs on is the attempt by the union to give the public and its constituency the impression that the Ministry of Education has somehow turned its back on teachers and their concerns. The Council also says it frowns upon the public shouting of requests for meetings and ultimatums to the Education Minister and the Prime Minister. 5 entries have been chosen to compete in the finals of the Barbados at 50 Monument Design Competition. The entries, which were chosen from a field of 40, were designed by Vincent Jones, Hugh Holder, Taisha Carrington, Jason Hope, Selwyn Small, and Kevin Talma, and John Burgess. The finalists were announced by Chairman of the 50th Anniversary of Independence Celebrations Coordinating Committee, Senator Maxine McLean, during a special ceremony held in the Officers' Mess of the Barbados Defence Force at St. Anne's Fort, the Garrison. The finalists will now enter a phase where they will prepare detailed designs that will be assessed in the next 4 weeks. Senator McLean told the finalists that they are on the threshold of history, with the opportunity to have their work displayed among the greats of persons such as Carl Broodhagen.
Each of you have the opportunity to have your work displayed among the great works of persons like Carl Broodhagen, whose son Virgil is one of the assessors. For generations, the 50th Anniversary Monument will stand out as representative of what we have achieved over the last half-century. I wish each of you good luck and remind you once again that your artistic creativity will be etched in Barbados's landscape for eternity.
Despite some recent bad press, the Grantley Adams Memorial School is seeking to dispel the negatives associated with the St. Joseph institution. As part of its community outreach, a march was held through neighboring communities involving students and representatives of various clubs and organizations like the Cadet Corps. Today's event follows a service marking the school's Founders Day. The school is celebrating its 61st anniversary. Principal Dennis Brown says he was taken aback by what he says is the negative connotations associated with the school and its students.
One young lady came to me and she said, "Sir," almost a tear, she said, "Sir, you know that this is a young lady who is Christian, like goes to Sunday school every Sunday morning. She works very hard at her academics, very positive, decent child. But while she walked the streets, she heard persons saying, 'I hope you went to school today, you know. I hope that you know going home and you are coming from somewhere else.'" And that was so touching and hurtful to see how she felt and what adults in this country was saying about her, just because we had 5 students who, because of whatever situation they may be faced with, may have been misguided and may have done the wrong thing.
Mr. Brown says, like all principals, he too is concerned about violence in schools. He maintains Grantley Adams has a zero-tolerance policy towards it. And in light of recent reports from the Barbados Union of Teachers, of its members being on a work to rule, Principal Brown says his staff had no qualms in taking part in today's activity, and other events are planned to mark the school's anniversary.
Next week, we will enter the community. The student council, the prefects, will be honoring elderly persons from the Horse Hill area and the Pax Hill area. We also will be doing cleanup programs for the elderly through the community. So it is part of reaching out to the community and let them know that Grantley Adams School is here, that we love them and we want them to love us too.
Well, it's not very often that a woman lives to see 100 years old and gets to celebrate it with her husband. However, this was the case for Barbados' latest centenarian, Doris Wilkinson. Miss Wilkinson of Perfection Road, Bush Hall, sat down alongside her husband of 60 years, Gilbert, as family, friends and the Governor-General celebrated the former hawker on her special day. The Wilkinson family may have even more celebrating to do in the coming years, as both Gilbert at 91 and Doris's sister Evelyn Griffith at 90 are nearing that century mark. Coming up, Q turns 12 and we'll show you how it is celebrating.
My baby. That's what we have to do.
You are a romantic.
I have diabetes, and I'm still the same. Lucerne. Thanks to its benefits that help control my blood sugar spikes and provides energy. Drinking it daily.
Lucerne, keep being you.
More great cities just got closer. The Scotiabank Aero Platinum MasterCard is now even better. Fly to New York, Miami, Orlando, and Fort Lauderdale with just 20,000 Scotia points. With your new Scotiabank Aero Platinum MasterCard, you'll receive a welcome bonus of 10,000 Scotia points, so you can enjoy the cities you love most sooner than ever. Apply today. Call 426-7000 or visit your nearest branch. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
Don't let your data experience slow you down. Step up to Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network, more than twice as fast as the slow network. Get more with Digicel. Digicel, the fastest 4G network in Barbados. Dial *153# to sign up to Digicel today.
The National Union of Public Workers has found a new company to provide medical insurance for its membership. Acting President Joyanne Innes has confirmed for CBC News that Capita Financial will be taking on the new role from June 1st in partnership with Sagicor. She says the decision followed a meeting of the union's National Council. The move followed notice from the current provider, ICBL, that it will not be renewing coverage after May 31st. Q100.7 FM is celebrating 12 years of quality broadcasting. The station and its announcers marked its birthday alongside loyal listeners at the popular Q in the Community being held at King George V Park in St. Philip. Tributes were paid to Q's early announcers, including the late Peter Wilkinson, who ruled the early morning shift. Current announcers Archelaus Weeks and Wendell Ford reminisced on the early years of the station and agree it has grown.
I was the youngest of the members, very, very young, mind you. The others were very old, and I added that injection of youth. But certainly these gentlemen have a wealth of knowledge, lots of energy, and lots of encouragement as well. And we really made that impact. In the early years, it was a teething process, but I think we've done pretty well so far.
I've been there now for just about 10 years. 10 years? No, 12. 12 years too. And when I think of Q, I remember Peter Wilkinson. He was the man, along with Archelaus Weeks and myself, that started that station. And we went through a lot of perils that nobody fool you. And then people realized that we were doing something good.
Senior announcer Joanne Seeley Cumberbatch says Q100.7 FM had to include its listeners in its celebrations.
We wanted to come out in the community as we do every Thursday and, be a part of what was happening for today's Q right here at King George V. So today we had a wonderful treasure hunt. You came in time for the treasure hunt. They're going to move around the park and collect some of our wonderful logos. And on the back, they can win a nice prize, a T-shirt. We also have some trivia on the station itself, and then trivia of things right here in St. Philip. That one is to come. Also, we have the karaoke, the ever popular karaoke going on today in 2 sessions. So we're going to have some big winners as well.
Mrs. Seeley Cumberbatch says the station intends to be part of Barbados' Golden Jubilee.
You can listen to QFM. It's the only station in Barbados that you will hear the old Bajan stories, Jeanette Lane Clark's, Okras in the Stew. We take you to the tents because we started our crop over focus. We take you to the tents. People keep complaining. We don't go into the tents. We don't hear about the tents anymore. We are taking you right back to 1982 with the tents and so on. We are ready for crop over, ready for the season, ready for the 50th anniversary of independence right here in Barbados. QFM, ready, 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 and Q, good for you.
Some members of the Pine and Wildy community had the opportunity to showcase their skills today. This as an open day for the area's Community Impact Program was held at the Parkinson Resource Center. Community Development Aide Petra Chase talks about the aim of the program.
The Community Impact Program, we cater to all people of the community, but mostly we look at those that are unemployed so that, we can give them skills and ways that they can help, to help themselves and also be able to find employment, and also help others.
Some of the vocational classes offered include natural hair care, beauty therapy, jewelry, cake and pastry making, and drapery. Customer service is also a focus of the program as well, and Ms. Chase says it's important as good customer service is necessary in every job. The open day will be followed with a graduation ceremony for over 120 participants. Community Development Minister Steve Blackett is also expected to attend. Efforts are on to replant trees in the Scotland District. Spearheading this initiative is the Ministry of Agriculture. It partnered with the Boy Scouts and Girl Guides associations to plant over 600 trees, including tamarind, breadfruit and golden apple recently at Haggett's in St. Andrew. The activity formed a part of several to mark this year's World Environment Day. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Ellsworth Reid, says the area is not only of importance to the agricultural sector, but to tourism as well, and it should be designated a national park.
We have been talking about this too long, about creating something called a national park in this area. But yet, no move is being made to get it done. And I believe that this gives us the ability to do that. And the scouts this morning, and when they came up, it really blessed my heart because I never expected so many of them, and I didn't expect them to be so excited about planting these trees. So we are on our way to reforest the Scotland District, to make it a sanctuary for tourism, to make it a basket food for Barbados.
Chief Commissioner of the Boy Scouts, Dr. Nigel Taylor, notes the tree planting exercise is part of an initiative from the World Association of Scout Movement, which had set a goal of reforesting the world.
What we did, we planted the odd over 700 trees in collaboration with some assistance with the Girl Guides Association of Barbados. And we did that. I mean, I cannot specifically say how many scouts were here. I know we had maybe
in excess of 300.
In excess of 300 to plant these trees. But the nice thing about it is, it also gives the scouts the opportunity to feel a part of the agriculture base.
Still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region. Stay with us.
James Street